Welcome back to your podcast, our podcast, the Popular Side Podcast. As usual, is Yinka Yusuf.
Hello.
And I'm Akinade. Mr. Yinka Yusuf, how's it going?
Yes, boss. I'm good. Very, very good. Ramadan is over now.
Yeah.
I feel refreshed.
Okay.
Physically and spiritually.
Okay. Are you overeating after Ramadan? How does that go?
Nah. Funny enough, during Ramadan, when people lose weight or when people, they shed some weight, I actually gain weight in Ramadan.
Huh. Okay.
I don't know how that works. I gain weight in Ramadan, so right now I'm thinking probably I need to hit the gym, get back into better shape. But yeah, Ramadan was fun. I kind of miss it already.
Wow. Right? Okay. I think you might be the only person who misses fasting. I think you might be.
A couple of people do. A couple of people do. So the food is the least bit of Ramadan. It's actually the spirituality that is, I really don't eat that much before anyway.
Yeah.
I don't eat breakfast. I only eat when I'm hungry. So it's not the food bit. The food is the side chick. The main thing is.
See, you can say side chick now because Ramadan is over. You know.
Yeah, we can say that now. We can say that now. What's happening? How's your hand? How are you doing?
First, let me embarrass you a little bit, right? So, I'm always good for 1 or 2 embarrassments per week when I'm talking to friends or family.
Yeah.
So, okay. So this Ramadan thing, right? So, what I would say is, I would say for you live your faith, right? So it's not just for show. You live your faith in everything you do.
Yeah.
You're literally one of the best people I've ever met. And I mean that very seriously. So, we've done a lot of things together. I've seen the way you interact with people from, different walks of life. And so this is not just a joke to you. This is not just religion to you. It's literally a way of life. I remember growing up, there used to be this thing in my church. They used to call it faith in action, where you actually do something, like you go out and you give gifts and you put your faith into action. I feel like that's what you do on a day-to-day basis. So I just had to say that and embarrass you a little bit. So
yeah, I can say the same for you anyway.
You're too kind. You're too kind. You're too kind.
And maybe that's why we're for people when a group of like. Probably, how many are we? That secondary school group?
A lot. 130,
right?
I think. Yeah.
Right, yeah. But when it comes to serious matters, you and I, we think the same way.
Yeah, it's very true. It's very true.
Well, exactly. And when it's time to joke or sound silly, then we go our separate ways. We go our separate ways. Sometimes on football or some funny things. But when it comes to serious matters, right? At the end of the day, it's always you and I in one corner. At times versus everybody.
Yeah, sometimes. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
No, but anyway, I just had to say that. So
I appreciate that.
Of course. What's going on in my world? Typical busy week. We're recording on a Saturday night. We've never recorded on a Saturday night before. So we're recording at about 11:15 in Nigeria PM, which is my 6:15, and that's on me because I have a really busy day on Sunday. The kid has a game, which is going to take the whole day, and then I have some work then after. So that's going to affect what we can tell you about who's played, who is not. So if anyone has played on a Sunday, we have not watched it. Our premiere is usually on Monday nights, Nigerian time. This week, it will be on Sunday night. So hopefully that means more people will tune in and we can actually have a real premiere and have a real conversation. We're targeting 8 p.m. on Sunday, which if you're watching this, you either are watching it during the premiere or you missed it. So I'm not even sure why I'm saying it, but I'm saying it. Yeah, but Yinka, we hit a milestone. We hit our 6,000th view about a week ago. So thank you to everyone who has subscribed, who has shared, who has commented, who has given us online and offline feedback. Most of the feedback has been offline because we're still in the friends and family stage of our venture, So thank you. We have some people in our lives who watch religiously, every week. So shout out to them. It's hard to devote 90 to 100 minutes listening to our voices, but we thank you for doing it.
Major thanks. Yeah.
All right. Shall we get into it?
Let's do that. Let's get into it. So what do we have this week?
Okay. So this week is very simple, right? We will bring back Unpopular Opinion. We have a friend who is livid that we haven't had the Unpopular Opinion segment in a while, So we will bring it back. And this time we will give the floor to Yinka. He has a pretty unpopular opinion, which we'll get to. But our main thing this week, we're in the quarterfinal stages of the Champions League. The first legs were on Tuesday and Wednesday of this current week that is ending. And the second leg will be Tuesday and Wednesday again of the new week. So it's a quick turnaround. And of course, while all of that is going on, all the champions, well, not all of them, there are 8 teams in the Champions League quarterfinals, right? At least 4 of them, at least 4 of them are involved in some kind of tight-ish race. The others, not so much. So we'll talk about what they did in their respective leagues. But I thought we'll start with the leagues and then finish with the Champions League. So, Yinka, why don't we start in Germany? Let's start in Germany, where Bayer Leverkusen will not play until Sunday. So we're sorry, we can't tell you what happens. They play Werder Bremen on Sunday. But Bayern played and won today. So, Yinka, you want to tell us what else happened in Germany today?
Bayern played the 1-2-0. So all they've done is they've kind of delayed the inevitable, if you get what I mean. Because if they had lost today, then Leverkusen, it didn't matter what happened subsequently. But Bayern won 2-0. Bayern fielded a team that wasn't, kind of weakened team. If you look at their lineup, same back two, it was Dyer and Delight. Guerrero came in for the Canadian young man. What's his name?
Alphonso Davies.
Alphonso Davies, and they started, Kane played, obviously. They started Müller this time around. But the not too good news for Bayern is Kingsley Coman came on and he got injured and is definitely out of the Arsenal game. So if that's the case, that means Arsenal's return leg to Bayern, Gnabry might be out, Sané might be out, and Coman is definitely out. So Gnabry and Sané, I understand they have hamstring strains. I know the way these things work. It's touch and go. You might still play, but there's a big probability then you don't have a hamstring tear that you'll be out for like 6 weeks minimum if that's the case. So it seems the universe is aligning towards Arsenal, because what killed Arsenal in that game, I'm sorry for quickly going to it, was pace. So if Coman is out, if Gnabry is out, if Sané is out, that might be good news for Arsenal.
There's no pace. There's no pace left game in the league.
There's no pace left.
On the team. There's no pace left
on the team. So if that happens, that's the only thing that happened in the Bundesliga that is of note. Dortmund won away to Mönchengladbach. Dortmund had a red card, was in the second half after they had scored their second goal, but they managed the game brilliantly, and the game still ended 2-1, which is quite good for them. So the tables, it's Bayern, Leverkusen, Bayern Munich. Stuttgart is in 3rd position. I know you keep saying we need to talk about Stuttgart. Yeah,
we do. It's impressive. Maybe we need to dedicate. They're tied on points with Bayern, Yinka.
Absolutely.
63 points.
So maybe what we need to do is dedicate an episode to when the league is over. and do like an award across board, best player, surprising team, and stuff like that. We can do for each league, then we do for Europe in general. But we will talk about Stuttgart later on.
Their win, draw, and loss records are exactly the same. 120, drew 3, lost 6 times. So where Bayern is ahead of them, obviously, Bayern has scored more goals, 15 more. Bayern has conceded 2 more. So Bayern has them plus 13 in goals difference. But obviously, Stuttgart doesn't have Harry Kane, who to me right now is the best pure striker in the world.
Yeah, he is. So quick trip to Syria then. Syria, nothing spectacular. All the games today, there were 3 games today, and only 1 goal was scored. So I think I have every permission, every right to just keep Syria at this point.
Yeah,
Inter play tomorrow, Milan play tomorrow.
Yeah, we just talked about Syria briefly before we got on, and they're just they're living up to this defensive league thing, and the world does it. These kids who watch like 5 minutes here and there and don't sit down to watch 90 minutes, that's not really what's gonna keep them watching. You got to score some goals. I'm sorry,
but it's the kind that will make you beat Liverpool 3-0 at Anfield, which we will get to.
We will get to.
We will get to. Which we will get to. So there's but I agree with you. There has to be a balance. It can't be too defensive. And when you have 2 defensive teams playing each other, it's drab, it's boring, there's no excitement. It's not the kind of football I like. But some people will say it's all about results and stuff. So different strokes for different folks.
Yeah, Juventus were away to Torino. That was a goalless draw. Okay, maybe that wasn't completely unexpected. City rivals, both from Torino. I can see that, but the 2 other games, there was only one goal in them. Bologna, Monza, another goalless. Lecce, Empoli, Lecce wins at home. I'm just like, why don't you like scoring? I don't know. It's funny to me.
But to be fair, the Torino Juventus game was actually quite interesting.
Just no goals.
Just no goals, right? It was a fun goalless draw. It could have been 4-4, frankly. It was nice finishing, but keepers were just solid. And I think Juventus probably hit the goalpost like 3 or 4 times.
Oh wow!
It was a fun 0-0. But that still doesn't. Yeah, you can't have a whole weekday and there's just 1 goal. It's sad.
So the game on Friday, the Lazio versus Salernitana, I believe is how you say it.
Yeah.
Lazio were home, right? Lazio obviously are from Rome. So one of my colleagues at work is away visiting Rome, with her family, and they went to that game. And I think they flew in and went almost straight to the game. So,
straight to the game.
Struggling to stay up and all that. And they just said the atmosphere is pretty much, you really can't capture it or describe it if you've never experienced it before. So I felt a little jealous.
Yeah. They're fanatical fans in Italy, I'll tell you. But it's a matter of time. When we retire, these are the kind that's what I want to do. Just fly into somewhere, go watch the game, fly out. Yeah. That's
Yinka, you're the money man, right? The goal was you were gonna go make money, and then we'll all have money. What happened?
Life happened.
Life happened.
Life happened. Anyway, so moving on to La Liga, the Atletico Girona. Girona lost to Atletico Madrid 3-1, I think.
Yeah.
That was actually a fun game. Atletico, despite the fact that they have a game against away to Dortmund, they still feel that a quote unquote fairly strong team, and they beat Girona 3-1. Madrid won 1-0 away to Mallorca. It was a weakened Madrid side also.
Understandably, right?
Understandably, exactly. They won 1-0. Same thing with Barcelona. Barcelona won 1-0 away to Cadiz. The game just finished like maybe 30 minutes ago or thereabout. Once again, weakened back aside, drab game, but I mean, it's understandable.
Yeah, so I feel like Cadiz always has one surprise, at least for the last couple of years, one surprise result in them. So, for a while there, I thought that, this was going to be one of those days, but it turned out not to be. So good for Barcelona.
Good for Barca. League One, 2 games. It's not PSG. I think PSG play tomorrow. Like we said, it's been curtains forever in the French league. It's PSG's title. So that's the trip around Europe. I think we can now settle on the EPL.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Had a couple of games, well, more than a couple actually. So today we had 6 games all in all, and if my math is correct, the total number of goals scored, that will be 6, 8, 14. 14 plus 8 will be 22. 22 goals in 6 games.
Okay, but can I tell our listeners what the first game was and how many goals were scored? You know where I'm going with this, Yinka.
I know. So, I know. You have the floor.
The day started, obviously, on my side, it was an early game. I don't know, 8:37, whenever it was, which is the noontime game in England. Newcastle, who have been up and down all season, home against Spurs, who you and other people tell me I should be afraid of going into their house. And I'm like, afraid of what? They don't defend. I'm not afraid of anyone who doesn't defend. Newcastle beat them 4 goals to squadouche, to 0.
Yeah.
Nil.
Major
zilch.
thumping.
Major thumping. My guy, my baller, Isak, scored 2.
Yeah.
He scored 2, right? He scored the first 2.
He scored 2.
Okay. Two
pretty
beautiful goals. They were just breaking away like Bayern against Arsenal, if I'm being honest. Those first 2 goals.
Yep.
But anyway, I'm done. So go ahead. Take it away.
Newcastle, even though they had a weak inside, they kind of schooled Spurs. And I don't understand this pass that what's his name? Ange
Postecoglou.
Postecoglou. Yeah, I don't get the pass that he gets. I don't get the pass that Pochettino gets, right? Because these guys are massively underperforming. And it's like everybody just saying, well, Ange said something last week. He said, if you want to play in the Champions League, then I don't want you to come to Spurs or something. I'm like, what's going on here? So he's saying that, yes, sir. I don't know.
Yusuf. Expectations, right? Expectations are the thief of joy. Okay? If you have no expectation, you'll never be sad. All right? You'll never be sad. Okay? If you expect nothing from your kids, they can't disappoint you. If you expect nothing from your spouse, he or she can disappoint you. You expect nothing from your job, you just, get your paycheck every month in Nigeria, every 2 weeks here, and just be okay with it. If you expect nothing of yourself, you can disappoint yourself. So when what's the name of their last Italian coach? Crazy guy. What's the name?
The former Juve guy, Conte?
Yeah. When Antonio Conte said, I do not understand these people. The standards are terrible. He got fired, insubordination, that, and the other.
Yeah.
Everything he said was right. The standards are terrible.
But their fans don't feel this way. So they have a popular YouTuber called
a Spurs
Expressions.
Fan? I know one. I've met one Spurs fan my entire life. How many have you met?
Okay, so I know a couple, right? But there are a number of them on YouTube. And you see, you might think I'm being sinister, but, I love watching fan reactions on YouTube after games, especially when your club has been thumped. So immediately I saw the results, I knew within an hour we would have fan reactions on YouTube. So I went straight to YouTube. You need to watch the dejection, the sadness, of sports fans, right? But what is annoying me is the fact that their coach or their manager and the hierarchy seems to believe that, well, it is what it is. I'm like, what kind of stupid mentality is this?
I think I could speak to that. So think about, so they lost Conte, who is a winner. You know, you can say he's not a builder, but he's a winner and he's a good coach, right?
Yeah.
They actually, in my opinion, they tried a good thing when they brought in the goalkeeper. What's his name? The coach, Portuguese guy, now at Forest, former goalkeeper.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
Espirito Santos.
Espirito Santos. I thought that was the right move. You know, this is a guy who has shown he can coach, but they did the Spurs thing by not giving him time, right? You know, they did the typical Spurs thing. You hire the right guy and then you don't give him time. You know, the guy is showing now that he can coach. And then the Angie hire, I didn't hate it. This is a guy, you know, he's from Australia. It took the long path, you know, to get to a big club. You know, he was with Celtic. By the way, you're wearing a Celtic jersey, right? When I first saw it, I thought it was Sporting Lisbon because it's pretty much the same green. I am wearing a basketball jersey. You inspired me last week. This is my Knicks. So this is the old Stephon Marbury number 3.
Now you can wear this because you guys are settled in the playoffs. You couldn't wear this a couple of...
Bruh. Let me tell you something. We're coming for that second seed. Do not mess with us. Okay. And you know the Bucks are only 16 and 17 since Doc took over.
Yeah.
They've won 16, they've lost 17. We are this guy. You know Colin Cowherd, right? You know Colin Cowherd. So Colin called he called Jalen Brunson. I think he either called him the best Nick since Pat or the second best Nick ever after Pat. I can't remember how we framed it. And I'm like, do I disagree?
Knicks, you guys have been unfair to Melo, right? You didn't put enough around him. Yeah? But for you to now turn around and say Bronson is a better Nick than Melo. Anyway, don't let us digress. We were talking about Ange.
Can we digress for 30 seconds? Can he digress for 30 seconds? Okay.
Go ahead.
So Melo and the Knicks could both have waited till the summer for Melo to become a free agent and to come over and join a pretty loaded team of young and decent players. But instead, Melo and the Knicks, and this is what happens. This is actually relevant to what we're talking about, because when you don't know what you're doing as a team, you go for people like Melo. Melo is like the same character as the Man U captain. You know, they do the flashy. They have no backbone. You can't win around them. You know what I mean? It's like Rashford. And this hurts me to say because I love Rashford. I love everything he stands for, but he has no character.
Yeah.
He has zero character.
Yeah, I agree.
Well,
on the field. On the field.
I'm talking on the field.
On the field. I'm talking just so we're clear.
Yeah, on the field.
Yeah.
The young players will learn nothing from them. That's Melo. And basketball actually lends itself to selfish characters. You know, on the field. I'm not talking of anyone's actual character in their house. I don't live with them. I'm talking of your basketball character. Like LeBron has great basketball character. I don't know if he's a terrible or good person, not my problem. But LeBron's first instinct is to assist, not to score.
Yeah.
Is to make the right play, not to score. Melo refused to change his game for 18 years. You know, he refused to go out where everyone else is shooting threes. He refused to shoot the three. You know, he just took the jumper, which is great that you can shoot a jumper. But if the right play is a three, you should do it. Melo never defended anyone. Same as Marbury, whose jersey I'm wearing. You know, because, okay, I'm going off script, but I'm going to say the last thing on basketball, then we'll move on. The New Jersey Nets, right? You wore a Nets jersey last week, Yinka. when Marbury was with them, his last full season with them, they won 26 games. For those who don't watch the NBA, that's 26 out of 82. They only won 26 games. And then the New Jersey Nets did one thing. They traded their star point guard, Marbury, who had all the stats, 20 plus points a game, 8 plus assists a game. On paper, it was a star.
Player. Yeah.
They replaced him with Jason Kidd, who, coming from Phoenix, probably averaged 16 and a half, 17 points, maybe just, one more assist a game, maybe 9. They won whatsoever. 52 games. They went from 26 to 52. That was the only real change. The only other change that came in was a rookie, Kenyon Martin, a rookie who ended up not being a great player, right? And then they did it back-to-back seasons. And this guy goes to the Knicks and he doesn't do anything because some people, their game just doesn't translate into winning. That's mellow. But you made me do this. Don't do it again.
Okay. I'm sorry, boss.
You made anyway. So back to Angie. Angie has done well for himself, right? He went to Celtic. He came, and now he's at a. They think it's a big club. We'll let them have that. But he's doing what he's supposed to do. They might make the Champions League in his first year. What else do you expect? You want them to challenge Liverpool? You want him to challenge City? He's doing what he's supposed to do. It's about KPIs, like you like to say, Yinka. Well, what was his KPI?
But as it stands, they might not even make the Champions League. It's not guaranteed.
Arsenal is going to beat Villa on Sunday. So, yes, and that, right now, I think, let me check. I think
so they're both on 60 points. But
yes.
Yeah, they're both on 60 points. Villa are ahead with goal difference.
Yeah, they're ahead
so if Villa play tomorrow, they will have...
No,
by just
Tottenham
one.
are ahead by 3. And they have a game in hand. Tottenham actually have one game. Actually, you know what? Let me make sure this is the most up to date. You might be right. They
had their game in hand today.
You're right. Villa had goals difference only 1. They're only up by 1.
Yeah. So they lost 4-0, so it's down to 1 now.
Wow.
It's down to 1.
Wow.
So it's between them and Villa, right? As it is. I don't know. I think Villa will take it because
that was your prediction.
If you're saying Arsenal will play out and win all through, so that means we're going to beat Spurs.
Both of them. Yeah, they have to.
We'll beat both of them. That's what you're saying.
That's what needs to happen. So I have to say
I just don't think. Yeah. I don't think Angie should be saying these things. Just like we spoke about Tuchel the other day. You don't say these things. You don't. Anyway, so Newcastle thumped them severely. It could have been 6. It could have been 7. Spurs looked a total shadow of themselves.
Can I say something real quick about Aston Villa? Can I say something about Aston Villa and Tottenham?
Yeah, go ahead.
They've both played 32 games. They've both won 18. They've both drawn 6. They've both lost 8. Goals for Aston Villa 66, Tottenham 65. Goals against 49-49. I mean, I don't think there's any 2 clubs in the same league, in any league in the world, that are that close.
They are Siamese twins at this point.
They're the same. They're pretty much the same performance.
They're joined together. I'm telling you, it's crazy. It is crazy.
Okay, go ahead, Yinka.
Anyway, so Brentford beat Sheffield United 2-0.
I saw that.
City thumped Luton 5-1. At a point, you should not give your hope, or should not put your hopes in all these lower clubs that seem to want to ruffle either City or Liverpool. Because at a point, you were like, oh, Luton scored. You were happy. I'm like, just wait and see. You should learn. By now, you should know. Don't put your hopes in these small clubs.
So there are two forces fighting each other within me. One, I really like Rob Edwards, the coach of Luton. He's one of my favorites. I really, really like him. 2,
same here.
what's the name of the Luton guy that used to be at Chelsea? The midfielder that scored today. He used to be at Chelsea.
And the Nigerian
Ross
boy?
Barkley.
What's his name? Berkeley, yeah.
Yeah.
Ross Barkley.
You know he has Nigerian blood. So, is one of us.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. So he's one of us. So
one of us.
I love his comeback story. So we root for everyone Nigerian. So I love the way he came back. He's their best player, and he wouldn't make the top 20 for England's midfield right now. So, but he's their best player. Their number 9 wouldn't make top. I don't know who he plays for. I don't know what country he's from, but they have no one on that team that is any good. So it's all coaching and hustle. So I really enjoy watching them play. My problem is I wish the way they play today, I wish they had played that way all season, because they actually play really good defense against City. One of their really good defensive sequences, unfortunately, led to a penalty. The guy went just a little too far, and that was tired legs, not enough ability, and an extremely good Jeremy Doku, right? What can you do? If they played this way against everyone else, they'll be mid-table and not fighting relegation. That's my only regret with Luton.
Well said. Well said.
Yeah, thank you.
So the other 2 games, Forest and Wolves drew 2-2. Then I would love to talk a bit about this. Is the Bournemouth Manchester United game, which ended up 2-2.
I'm sure you would love to talk a bit about it. I'm sure you would.
No. I'd love to talk a bit about this. So Brentford should have won this game by like 4, 5, or 6.
Bournemouth, you mean? Bournemouth?
Yes, Bournemouth.
Okay, Bournemouth against Man U.
Yeah, against Man U. Because Man U didn't just show up for this game, more or less. They had 2 goals. One was a penalty. It was a penalty. No contest. And the first one was like a goal-mouth scramble that fell to their captain, Bruno Fernandes. Yeah, quote and unquote captain. And he smashed it into the net. Before that, it was wave upon wave upon wave of Bournemouth attack. Yeah? Now, Bournemouth had what, in my opinion, should have been a penalty. The ref actually gave penalty. Then VAR summoned him and said he should go look at it, that the foul happened outside of the box. Now I told you, I've been saying this for a while, Aki. I don't know what penalties are anymore. And we'll talk a bit more about that when we get to the Champions League games. The foul happened at the edge of the box, but the foul did not end outside of the box. You were still pulling the guy while he was in the 18-yard box.
That should be a penalty, yeah.
And the refereeing rule, the refs should know this. How come I know this and the refs don't know this?
Yeah.
And the ref gave a penalty, and VAR summoned him and said, no, the foul happened outside of the box. No, the foul started outside the box.
Yeah.
If it ended in the box, it's a penalty.
It's a penalty.
So why was that overturned? Why was it overturned? You know this. I know this. How come 3 or 4, 5 refs that do this for a living, they don't know that? So it is either they are stupidly incompetent and they should be fired, or there's something more to this. It's either there are Man U fans in there that are just disguising as independent refs. That's what it is. That's what it is. It was so obvious. I was surprised. I was like, what's VAR calling? What's the issue here? Next thing I said, the guy did this and said, no, it's not a penalty. I'm like, whoa, how? Man, it's getting ridiculous at this point. And if you notice something, right? These are the same refs that tell you that we don't want to make our fellow refs look bad.
Yeah.
When it comes to certain teams, you don't mind.
They do say that.
When it comes to certain teams, it's fine. Yeah. You can leave this one out. And I looked at the ref, the Man U Bournemouth ref. I don't know the guy again. So it's probably a low feeder ref, and they're like, we can throw you under the bus at this point. But Man U is not losing this game. It is either something dubious is going on, or these guys are stupidly incompetent and heads should roll. Simple.
Yeah.
I rest my case.
So, Yinka, I would vote for incompetence first. Because the alternative is unthinkable, that they're doing it on purpose or there's something more nefarious going on. I think we have enough evidence that there is incompetence afoot. We saw much better refereeing in the Champions League. We didn't agree with everything that happened, but there was more consistency. These are just better refs, to be honest. But I got to say something about Man U. So, I said a lot last week about Man U. Again today. So I was telling you on our broadcast, Graham Lasso was the color commentator. And after that first goal, he was just like, why is Mino by himself? The crazy thing is the first goal from this was the first goal from Bournemouth.
Sri Lanka.
Yeah. Dominic Sri Lanka. Oh, and for our non-Nigerian listeners, it's not Solanke. Yeah. Pisses me off when they call him Solanke. I'm like, what the hell? Stop it. Anyway, that's his name, Dominic Sri Lanka. And they didn't even have to break the lines. There were no lines. This was a United goal kick, I believe. That came right back. Once didn't go anywhere far, came right back, and the guy scored a goal. You said wave after wave after wave of attack. One was from Bournemouth's left back. He almost scored.
Yep.
I'm like, what are we doing?
That left back was looking like prime Roberto Carlos today.
Bruh.
God.
Wan-Bissaka can no longer play football. So they bought him for 50 million from Crystal Palace when 50 million was a lot of money. It's been 6 years now, maybe? It wasn't like very recently. It was at least 5 years ago. Yeah, 5 or 6 years ago. He was a up and coming prospect. 50 million was a lot of money back then, right? We all knew his attacking prowess was not the best, but it was a promising defender.
It's non-existent. Okay, not that it wasn't the best. Don't lie to our listeners. Have you ever seen Wan-Bissaka assist or pull out? It's rarer than the solar eclipse. What are you talking about?
I know, but
£50 million for a defender. Come on.
But bruh, he came in young enough that it could have been reshaped and reformed. Someone like him, other coaches or clubs would have made him a center back, would have made him a central defensive midfielder. I mean, he's athletic. He has all the other tools, but the lack of imagination post Ferguson is just amazing to me. They wasted this dude. They wasted 50 million pounds. They wasted a tall, strong, athletic, used to be able to defend defender. Now he can't even defend anymore. Today he looked terrible. Mino again looked exposed. What's his name? Fernandes never interested in tracking back or doing anything. I said that last week. Casemiro cannot cover space.
Talk about Casemiro.
Casemiro cannot cover space, cannot defend space, cannot anything space. All right? And this game was all about space in midfield. And again, I ask myself, last week I joked about, why do I watch 90 minutes of Chelsea when I have other things I could be doing? What is wrong with me? So today I had to ask myself, why am I watching this damn game? This is awful. And Rashford is done. Rashford is done. No football character. It's just, I'm like, nobody wants to take charge or take responsibility. Garnacho, I think that's the second goal they conceded was Garnacho's fault.
Yeah.
I'm like, where's Dallo? Where's Garnacho? They're not communicating. Your winger and your fullback or whatever back they're playing cannot both be missing on the same play. How is this possible?
It says a lot, Akin. It says a lot if take away their captain's 2 goals, right?
Yeah.
He didn't do anything.
No.
Their 3 best players are actually teenagers. and maybe add Onana to it. Onana has been very good for them.
Oh, he
right?
had a point blank save today at 2-1.
He had
could have been 3-1. It could have been 3-1 easy.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So Onana has been very good to them. Yes, he has one or two errors in him from time to time.
Yeah.
But which goalkeeper doesn't? It's just that his own is a bit more frequent.
Yeah.
But the teenage centre back they played today, I've forgotten his name, played very well. Yes, Sri Lanka probably sat him down for the first goal. Yeah. But other than that, he played well. Kobe Mino is playing well. Garnacho is playing well. That is a shame on the more experienced people they have in that lineup.
Yeah.
If it is these young boys that are pulling you old heads along.
Yeah.
Casemiro seems like he's playing retirement football. Yeah. He can't even run.
No, he's done. He's done.
And he's on 350,000 pounds, isn't it?
One they paid 60, 70 million for him. They were so giddy when they got him. They were like, ha 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 ha. We got him. No one else did. Blah 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 blah. Shame.
But that tells you that they don't know what they're doing. Same thing with the Varane acquisition, right? You cannot, as a United, you should not be buying players that have peaked already, that are on their way down.
Yeah.
Right? You should either be buying players at their peak or as they're approaching their peak or at the bottom where you can then develop them. So my brother kind of, when, you and I, we really gave it to Ten Hag last week, right?
It was a little harsh.
It was a little harsh. It was like, you guys are being too unfair to him. At least he's developing young stars. I'm like, is that the level that United are right now? No, he's developing young stars in the sense that he's playing Kobe Mino, he's playing Garnacho, he's playing that young central defender and stuff like that. But I'm like, is that where United have gotten to? Wasn't he the one that bought Anthony? Wasn't he the one that paid for Casemiro? Wasn't he the one, that paid for Onana? Because frankly, Onana is not an upgrade on De Gea. He's not.
Yeah,
the only difference is one is white, one is black. Simple.
Well, stylistically, he's an upgrade.
So the style you're talking about is Onana can play ball, right?
With his feet, yeah.
With his feet. How many times has that been in effect in United? Please tell me.
So
how many times have you seen United play from the back?
So Yinka, remember what my thesis last week was: there's no coaching happening at Old Trafford. That's the problem. They're not coaching anything.
So I can hear you.
Yeah.
But if you brought in a goalkeeper with the mindset that he can play from the back, and he is not been playing from the back when you bought him, why did you buy him in the first place?
Because you know what you did? Who is the center back that he's supposed to be playing from the back with?
I hope you're not talking about
Harry Maguire. How? The man is is not a ball playing guy. It was even worse today than it was last week, and it was terrible last week.
Wow.
It was worse today. Anyway, right, so we spent too much time on Man U last week.
Let's end this episode of United bashing.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the midweek games.
Yeah.
The Champions League and Europa League games. Yeah, we need to talk about both. Akin said jokingly before we started that I should consider a career in betting, right? But unfortunately, I won't do that.
Yeah.
Because most of my predictions of the first leg actually came to pass.
Yes, it did.
Let's start off with the main one, right? I'm not sure whether that should be Real Madrid City or
I think Real Madrid City is the main one because that should be the final.
Yeah.
Those are the two best teams, in my opinion.
So let's start with Madrid City. I told you, I said it's going to be a high-scoring affair, and I think it's going to be a draw.
I thought you were crazy.
You guys can go back. And check.
No, I thought you were crazy
what I said
when you said it. I thought you were crazy.
And that's exactly what happened.
And what did I say?
That game,
show us your. What did I say? Did we do the? No, we didn't do the spreadsheet for.
We didn't do the spreadsheet for that. So what you said was that City were going to bash Madrid.
Yeah,
that's what you said.
Yeah,
and I am like, don't write off. You can't do that to Madrid.
Yeah,
that game was like a competition of who's going to score the goal of the season.
Bruh.
You know, it was goal after goal, and I'm like, what's going on here? And when that game was happening, remember I sent you a text. I said, whoever in UEFA decided to remove the away goals rule from these competitions, that person should be given a statue or a plaque or whatever at the UEFA. Because this is the best thing that has happened to we that love free-flowing football.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because there is no way you will get this kind of score when there were away goals rule. Even Pep will pack the bus.
Yeah.
That you're not talking.
Yeah. Because so for those who don't follow closely, away goals rule for many, many, many decades in European and I think all over the world affairs. When you score a goal in a knockout competition at the other team's home, it counts for 2. So a 3-3 aggregate, right? Say City just went to Madrid and it was a 3-3 draw. And then they went back home and it's a 0-0 draw. 3-3 aggregate, City would have gone through until 2 years ago or 2 or 3 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Because City scored 3 away goals, which counts for an additional goal. So it's really 4-3 is how UEFA would have looked at it. So the problem is, for me, I'm like, both games should be equal. The fact that someone is home second should be all the advantage you need, right? That's all you need. You shouldn't give them an extra advantage. So now,
so if you then go into extra time, you're getting more minutes in your home.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's it.
So for me, you have 180 minutes where anything can happen during any stretch of that 180. Or maybe even 210, right? With extra time. So I love it. I love not having.
I love it.
Not having. But can we talk about Rodrigo just for a second? Vinny Jr. gets all the plaudits because he's a legit superstar. But the skill level of Rodrigo is unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
His movement is unbelievable. His intelligence is unbelievable. I mean, like Vinny can play across the front line. He can do, he can do all that. But is a shy younger kid.
Exactly.
He's not. Vinny is not shy. Vinny,
you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah,
Vinny's an irritant. I can put it that way.
But Rodrigo is intelligent. I'm like, how do they manufacture these kids in Brazil? It's because it's Gabriel Jesus with good knees and probably a better football brain. It's unbelievable. The goal is scored. I'm like,
Henry said something because he was talking about how is Paris? How come Paris keeps churning out?
I remember that episode.
These players and stuff. And he said not just Paris, the suburbs of Paris. He was very, very specific. And he said, there's nothing that can beat playing football on concrete.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
And I looked at him like, he has a point. Because you must really be crazy to play football on concrete. And you must really be very, very skillful, right? Because the ball will just keep bouncing. So if you played concrete all your life, they then put you on grass. Oh, come on. Your ball control will be impeccable. It will be. It's the truth.
Yeah.
It will be impeccable, So I agree with you on what you said on Rodri. I just looked at the game like, and you want to add Mbappe to this? Come on. It's not me.
That is a great segue.
It's going to be unfair.
Great segue to Barca. It was PSG Barca. The more I watched it, I'm like, why are you not going to Barcelona next year? Why are you going to Real Madrid? You should be going to Barcelona. Say you must live in Spain. Who is going to choose Madrid over Barcelona as cities to start with, number one? 2, there's an open role for you. You can just go in there and replace Lewandowski. You have a bunch of young kids around you. They keep churning them out. Like every 18 months, there's 2 or 3 new ones you've never heard of. you can pick your coach. You can literally pick your coach. So
that's
why aren't you going to Barcelona if you're Mbappe? Why are you going to Madrid? They don't need
you. Maybe he's looking at Barca as not just on the pitch, but as a club in general. They're not, I mean, be honest, they've not really told a good story of themselves.
That's true.
Yeah. As one of our friends will say, one says Barca is broke, the other says no, Barca is bankrupt.
Yeah.
And the other one says no. And the other one says no, we are fine. You know? So maybe that's it. I mean, it probably just it likes the white more than the claret,
more than
the popular, the Barcelona kit. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But I told you last week, I said Barcelona, we're going to be PSG.
I thought Barcelona were going to go through, but I thought PSG will win the first leg.
Was going to win the first leg.
Yeah.
I said Mbappe has checked out already. And have you ever watched a Paris game in recent times where Mbappe vanished, like he vanished last week?
Nah, he had zero shots on goal. He had 0 shots on goal. His passes were not connecting. He didn't play well.
Nothing. No impact. Nothing. Right? So his mind is already out the door. Right? And what's his name? Luis Enrique has poorly managed him up to the point that it will be difficult for you to get anything out of him.
Yeah.
Yeah? So the return leg is only if he's now playing for pride and is self-motivating himself. Is PSG motivating him right now? I don't think so. I don't think so. I've never seen Mbappe that poor before.
It was going up against a teenager. Kubarsi, right? That's how you say his name?
Kubarsi, yeah.
Kubarsi is a teenager.
I was going up against Kubarsi.
And you didn't give the guy hell. Like, I mean, there's no excuse for that.
Yeah. I mean, Barcelona backline is not. You don't know them for being solid and stuff. Mbappe should have been running rings around them, but that didn't happen. Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, back to Madrid City. My pick of the goals was that Valverde finish. By the way,
it was ridiculous. Yeah? That was the equalizing goal. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought the Foden goal, and once again, I love Thierry Henry. Yeah, no did Thierry on the CBS show, their Champions League show.
Yeah.
Thierry, once Foden controlled the ball, Thierry said go before he even struck the ball.
Oh yeah, he knew it.
He knew that this is going top corner. But that Valverde goal, the technique, the pass, the technique in the pass and the technique in the finish,
And the fact that he meant to do it. He meant exactly. There was no luck in it. He meant to do it. Yeah.
2 goalkeepers, that goalpost, still a goal.
Yeah.
Still a goal.
So I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna say something, right? So
go ahead. Mm-hmm.
When I, Arsenal are my team. We were out of the Champions League for 7 years. And I used to watch teams in the Champions League, and there were 3, maybe 4 teams that were just on a different level. Bayern Munich were number 1. Real Madrid were number 2. Not in any order.
Mm-hmm.
Barcelona, give or take. And then until very recently, City joined them very recently.
City.
For me, what would stand out? You talked about pace. It was the pace. And it wasn't just the pace of 2 or 3 players, but the pace of all of them. I'm talking David Alaba for Bayern and now for Real, right? I'm talking guys like Rudiger. These are defenders who were faster than your attacker, right? So the teams that were doing well in the Champions League are just the guys who hired the best athletes, right?
Yep.
The ones who could connect their brain to their feet, and they were fleet-footed, right? And we saw it all over the pitch. Like the way Foden
even plays. Liverpool.
Liverpool were the 4th team I was looking for. Sorry. Yeah. So they got there, in my opinion, before City got there. Because City was still playing this plodding, pass to depth.
Tiki-taka, touch,
that doesn't work anymore. You have to outrun and outthink everyone. And that's why when they got to Europe, they folded because everyone was faster and quicker than them, And unless you're, what's the name of unless you're Pirlo, being slow doesn't work. I'm sorry. It does not work,
I agree. Yeah. I agree. So Haaland had a quiet game again. Yeah. And that's largely because of Rudiger. I think Rudiger has kind of broken down, how to man mark Haaland. So let's see what will happen in the second leg. Yeah.
You have to make a prediction. What's your prediction? They're coming. I think
Madrid will go through.
Ooh.
Yeah. I think Madrid will go through.
Okay, by penalties or by winning outright?
Either by hooks or by crooks, whatever the case is, I think Madrid will go through.
Okay, so my prediction is City. I think City will win.
Okay. PSG Barcelona, I think Barcelona is going through.
So I picked Barcelona to go through after losing the first leg. They won the first leg, so I have to stay with Barcelona. I think they're going to go through. But remember a few years ago, this is not the first time we've seen PSG Barcelona. Remember?
Yeah.
We've had some crazy, wild,
crazy,
what is it? 6-4, 6-4 aggregate. Some, we've had crazy. So Mbappe can be emotional. Mbappe can be erratic. For someone that good, it can be very erratic. I expect him to play a lot better. I would not be surprised if he had a hat trick. But go ahead, Yinka.
Fair point. I was going to not really caveat, but I think PSG will live or die on Mbappe's sword.
Yeah, there's no one else for them.
That's it. Yeah, there's no one else for them. If Mbappe turns up, they have a chance.
Yeah.
If he doesn't, like he did, I think it's done.
Between the two coaches, Enrique is the more experienced coach, but I trust Xavi more.
Enrique is stubborn.
He's just too stubborn. He's too stubborn.
He's too stubborn.
Yeah.
He's too stubborn. You could have managed Mbappe better for your own good because you won this Champions League. Yeah, you could have done that, but it chose to be like, I'm the one in charge. I do whatever I want, and he played that villain a little too long in my opinion.
I agree.
You shouldn't do that.
I agree.
But I still think Barca will go through.
Yeah, I think they'll go through.
Atletico Madrid, Dortmund. Yeah. So Madrid, Dortmund.
Yeah.
You said Dortmund was going through. I said Madrid is going through. Right.
Yeah.
The first game, I think Madrid actually they kind of messed up. They could have wrapped up this round in that first leg.
Yeah, they let
Dortmund back into it.
Yeah, they let
Dortmund back into it, and Hala scored. Seb Hala, and the second leg is going to be tight, but I believe Madrid will do what they're very, very good at. They will so pack the bus in that game, and they'll just look to Griezmann, Correa. I'm telling you, in fact, the double-decker luxurious bus, that's what they're packing in Dortmund. Yeah, so I think Madrid will still go through that.
So I think I had Atletico winning the first leg, which they did, but Dortmund going through, right?
Okay.
I'm going to stick with it. I think Dortmund will score goals. I think Atleti have this thing where they just have chaotic European nights because their coach is a coach of chaos.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why.
Yes.
Why? Yeah, he just loves
chaos. Merchant.
Yeah, it's just that's what he does. So oh, by the way, Sancho pulled his weight this game. He actually did some defensive shifts.
Can we move on to Arsenal Bayern, please?
You don't want to talk about Jadon Sancho? You don't want to talk about Jadon Sancho?
I don't want to talk about Jadon Sancho. Right. If they win the next game and he does more than we'll talk about Sancho.
Oh my God, you're such a hater. Okay, move on.
So Arsenal Bayern, interesting game. I know I told you. That's exactly what I said. I said Bayern might turn into a prime Bayern.
You did.
And show Arsenal major pepper, which is exactly what happened.
Yeah.
I think Arteta got it wrong. My starting lineup will have been Tomiyasu at left back instead of Kiwior.
Me too.
For two reasons. Tomiyasu is faster and Tomiyasu is two-legged. So if Sane decides to cut in, he can do the work.
Yeah.
Once Sane was cutting in against Kiwior, and that was it. He couldn't cope with him.
Yeah.
And that's why Kiwior went off halftime.
Yeah.
But instead of bringing Tommy on, he brought in Zinchenko again. I'm like, what's going on here?
Which
you
worked,
and I know,
but I would not have done it. I would not have done it.
But you and I wouldn't have done it.
No,
you and I know Zinchenko is a liability defensively to some extent.
Yeah.
But he came on board, and he was the bravest Arsenal player offensively, if I could put it that way.
Yeah.
He was the one that was trying to break down the lines,
and
he actually gave his team, that lift to say, guys, we can do this. But in general, I think Arsenal's naivety was very evident. This is the first time, other than Jorginho and Havertz, this is the first time any of them will play quarterfinal Champions League football.
Absolutely.
And it was obvious.
Yeah.
Because typical errors that you would not typically expect of Saliba and Gabriel, they were just making errors all over the pitch. They were shaky, but fair to them, they weathered the storm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they grew into the game. And they eventually, it was a fair game. They kind of proved to themselves that we belong at this level.
Yeah.
If you get what I mean. And I don't think that will happen in the second leg.
Because now that will not happen.
There's that.
What's not going to happen in the second leg?
The naivety, the mistakes, the shakiness. I don't think that will happen in the first leg. I think they probably. Well, let me say I don't think. I hope they've gotten it out of their system already, and the second leg we'll see the Rolls Royce Saliba, the strong Gabriel that we expect to see. Tuchel had only one game plan. It was easy for him.
Yeah.
I'm going to break you guys down with pace. That's it. Yeah. We'll sit back. So he played two pivot central defensive midfielders, Goretzka and Lima, right? Then he had Gnabry, Musiala, and Sane, three fast, skillful, fleet-footed players, and just had Kane in front of them. And Kane, we all know, Kane is Kane, yeah?
Yeah.
And that pace really, really disturbed Arsenal. It really, really disturbed Arsenal. So kudos to him. Yeah, he got his tactics right. But I expect a counter tactic, in the second leg, because the pace is no longer there. Or if you're bringing in other people that are fast, they're not as skillful as Sane and Gnabry. I'm not sure whether those two will still play. The young French guy is also fast. He played today for Dortmund. He had a good game, but he's not on the level of Gnabry and Coman and Sane. He's not there yet. So that's my kind of summary for the game. What do you think?
Okay, so let me choose my words very carefully.
Okay.
So first, I'm going to take you back to maybe 4 episodes ago when we were talking about the demise of Bayern and how they're not going to win anything this season. And I said they can win the Champions League. And you asked me directly, you're like, who can they beat? Because at that point, we didn't know the draw, right? And I said they'll crush PSG if they were paired with PSG. And we both agree, okay, fine. PSG, they have one speed, Mbappe. Mbappe doesn't show up. Bayern are clearly the better team, right? But when Arsenal were paired with Bayern, I didn't like it, I didn't like it. I wanted Dortmund. I didn't want PSG, if I'm being honest. So the reality is I don't like to deceive myself. There's a reason Arsenal have not been in the Champions League in 7 years and have not done anything except disgrace themselves in the Europa League since they've been getting into it. They went to the final. It was goalless at the half and then 4-0 at the end.
4-1.
That's a disgrace. 4-1.
Yeah.
Shout out Iwobi, my guy. So there was a lot of pedigree in the Bayern team and Bayern, just the Bayern structure. right? And Tuchel can be like a one game wonder, one tournament wonder kind of guy. He's done it before, you know, took down City. But you know me, I will make a prediction. I've never made a prediction I will shy away from.
Okay.
Arsenal will win comfortably in Munich on Wednesday. I have no doubt in my mind. And let me tell you why.
Come on.
One thing I believe, you are what you consistently do. You are.
Sorry, just
okay,
pause
go
first.
On.
Pause.
Go on.
You just told me now about expectations.
Yes.
We've not done 1 hour. You just told me about expectations. You just preached to me about expectations when it came to Angie. And now you're okay.
But bro, what are the expectations of everyone? People were crying and moaning as if Arsenal lost 3-0 the way Liverpool did the day after. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm like, you broke it down. Everything you said was absolutely spot on. But again, you are what you consistently do. So is that Arsenal defense that showed up the real Arsenal defense? Or is it the one in 11? Okay, I said I gave you all the stats last week. You know what I didn't give you?
Last week.
You know what I didn't give you? Arsenal have not been behind in 11 Premier League games for 1 minute in 2024.
Yeah.
They have not been behind.
That's true.
So y'all can keep telling me this is the best league in the world, which I do not agree with. You can't keep telling me they're the best league in the world. And the team that is 11 games unbeaten in 2024, 10 wins, 1 draw against the best team in the world, and they've not even been behind for 1 minute in 11 games, has no shot against a team that has lost 6 times in the Bundesliga. Am I crazy? So no, you are.
No, you're not.
Okay,
no,
you
not.
are what you
but
consistently do. You are what you consistently do.
But to some extent, you can't ignore form.
Okay.
In football.
Okay.
So Arsenal are on
form.
From a league standpoint,
they're on form.
They are in super form.
Yes.
I get that. And you see, what happens to form is you don't stay up there forever, right? It's like a trough. You go up, you go down. You go up, you go down, right? Some people, they don't stay down that long. They go back up again. Those are the signs of champions.
Okay.
Right? The same Arsenal struggled to score goals in December.
You're
and all
not
of
wrong.
a sudden, they went to Dubai and they picked up form. You see where
You're
I'm coming
wrong.
from?
You're not wrong.
So the beginning or the end of your form can be at any point in time. And something can just trigger it pop like that. Yeah.
I agree.
So I get what you're saying, and I kind of agree with you. But I'm not as confident as that.
You're never as confident. Because that's the difference between you and I.
It's Allianz Arena.
I don't care.
You still have Kane. Kane didn't do jack in that game. He still scored.
I know.
Well, he did something. He elbowed Gabriel in the throat, which we will talk about.
In the throat.
Which we'll talk about shortly, right? But I can't. My head is telling me, Arsenal should win this.
Okay.
But sometimes I'm like,
do you know why I'm confident? Do you know why I'm confident?
Yeah.
I think Saka was denied a stone cold penalty. And let me just talk about that real quick. Everyone who says he put his knee against Neuer's knee, I'm like, how? He juked. So he went left at speed, at major speed, right? He did the leg over, left, and then the next thing you do is you come back right. Where else was he supposed to go? And then everyone who says, I said it initially, like he should have picked himself up and tried to score a goal instead of looking for a penalty. Then I'm like, he wasn't looking for a penalty. He juked left. The natural thing is to come back right. And there was something waiting for him when he went right. That's what happened.
So two things can be right.
Okay.
That's the way I look at this. Everybody looking at Saka, ignore Saka, look at Neuer.
Yeah.
Look at the goalkeeper. So people are looking at Saka, I said, look at the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper did not get the ball, right?
No.
and he swung his foot. Saka, on the other hand, to be fair, I've looked at it. I see why people are saying he probably left his leg in there. But I'm like, does that really matter? See, I don't know what the penalty is anymore. I have seen too many instances, not only in EPL, even in Europe, right, that penalties have been given for less contact than this.
Harvey Elliott, the weekend before. Liverpool.
I referred to Harvey Elliott and Wan-Bissaka. And when it happened, I said, that's a penalty because of what the refs have blown. It's like I tell you, it's like law.
Yeah.
We say in the case of so versus so you did that.
Yeah.
So if I'm doing that, you can't now tell me no. In this case, it can't be a penalty. Harvey Elliott left his leg behind for Wan-Bissaka to, left his leg for that contact to happen. Yeah, it was stupid. Wan-Bissaka was stupid to do that. I get it, but penalty. Was it really a foul? No, penalty. He left his leg in there, and I was like, "That's a penalty." So how can it now not be a penalty in this case?
So what I think what bothers me, Yinka, is everyone is focusing on the stills or what happened, or the short videos. No, you got to take it from where he started running from. Is coming at full speed.
And even don't look at Saka. Look at the goalkeeper.
Yeah,
right. Ignore Saka is there. Just look at the goalkeeper.
Yeah,
right. They said the keeper was there. Saka ran into him. I'm like, no, that dude's right leg was still in motion. He missed the ball. His right leg was going to Saka. Now, I told you, I said, if I'm Saka, I wouldn't have done that. I would have dribbled him and I would have scored the ball. Saka left his leg in there. Let's be fair.
But the question is,
right?
Did he mean to?
But that doesn't mean, no, I did not foul it.
I know, but people are forgetting the juke. The juke. That's he went like this.
I don't know intentions.
Yeah. But I know momentum.
I don't know intentions.
But bro, I know momentum. Exactly. When you're coming at, so just combine speed. Right? They gave him the ball. We've seen this a million times, right? What does he try to do? He tries to get back to his left foot. You've been telling him on this program, shoot with your right.
Yeah.
In this case, he juked to his left and then he came back to his right so he could put the ball back on his left and shoot.
I wouldn't even have dribbled the goalkeeper at that point. I would have one-timed that ball into the net.
Yeah, but you got a big...
I wouldn't even dribble the keeper.
So what we haven't talked about, Yinka? We haven't talked about one. I think Neuer had missed a few games in the Bundesliga coming back. So that was one thing. This man is a giant in every ramification, right? In every sense of the word. He's a literal giant.
Yeah.
He's probably the most athletic top-level goalkeeper there is. He's the best goalkeeper.
We said it.
Yeah.
When we're doing our good series, I was like, is Buffon, the next Buffon is Neuer, then the rest of them.
That's it.
Exactly.
So, and it might be more intimidating than Buffon. Buffon smiles and laughs with everybody. This man does not smile and laugh with nobody.
He is. He is.
So
the best one-on-one goalkeeper I've seen is Neuer.
It's unbelievable.
Once he does like this, it's like over. He's covered 60% of the post.
Yeah, it's over.
I agree.
So
I totally agree.
I say that.
I totally agree.
So I'm looking at the series of events that happened to give us a 2-2. And I'm explaining why I'm confident. Yeah. So number one, Saka is young. You have Davis, a non-defender, coming at you with a yellow card, and you did nothing.
Yeah.
Right? So those are the places Saka has to get better. I'm like, and then on the other side, Martinelli did nothing at all from beginning to the end. Saka actually started the game really, really well. And it was still dangerous as you saw at the end. And then at 1-0, the ball falls to Ben White. If the ball had fallen to anyone else, including Rice, including Jorginho, that's 2-0. Right? And what are we looking at that point? Are we looking at a 3-1, a 4-1, even a 5-1 at that point? That's why I'm confident. And then, but the number one reason I'm confident, Saka was there in pain, got up, complaining. What does Arteta do? Arteta got up, he walked around the pitch, congratulated everybody, and walked straight into the tunnel. Okay? They asked him before the Villa game, let's talk about it. Said, no, let's not. I've moved on. We have Villa tomorrow or in 2 days or whatever it is. And that's what we're going to talk about. So you can mature and grow up, on steroids. You know what I mean? You can accelerate your maturity. And that's what we're seeing with Arteta and these kids. They're learning in real time. They're learning in real, and they do not fear these guys, Yinka. They do not fear Bayern. I'm sorry. In a way, they almost, people would think they took Bayern for granted because of Bayern's league form. It wasn't because of Bayern's league form. It's because they literally don't think Bayern are better than them. They don't believe that. They may be wrong, but I want that attitude. I want that almost bastard nature. Arsenal never used to have it, and now they do. I think Arsenal are going to win. You can play this back,
Fair point.
And we'll see.
Fair point. I think Arsenal will win too, but I'm not as comfortable as you are.
Never as confident.
A couple of things we need to talk about.
Go on.
2 other incidences that we need to talk about. So the Bayern penalty in itself.
Not a penalty.
I get why
for
it's
me.
given.
Not a penalty for me.
But for me, it's not. I didn't think it was a pen. He tripped himself. Saliba didn't touch him. Saliba didn't get the ball. Was Saliba trying to get the ball? Yes. Sané tripped himself, and the ref gave it. So I sent you something. If you look at both incidences, side by side, and you ask me which one ended up in the penalty, I'll tell you it's the Saka one.
Yeah.
I would have said the Saka one, obviously, right? So that aside, Kane's elbow, there is no way.
To the throat.
There is no way that was a yellow card.
Yeah.
The excuse we get for using your elbow is you're jumping. So you need leverage to jump, right? That's why your hands should be like this. Kane wasn't jumping.
He wasn't jumping.
He was on the ground.
And it looked.
Kane looked at the back. He looked. He saw him and he went with his elbow to his throat. If that is not a red card, I don't know what else is.
And then, so the ref didn't see it. The ref was very close, but was behind the play, right? But VAR saw it, and VAR didn't call the ref to say.
But the ref gave him a yellow card.
I know.
So what did the ref see to give him a yellow card then?
I don't know.
The ref saw something.
I don't know.
So that for me, that's a sending off.
Yeah.
Straight off.
It should have been.
Now, the fourth one I want to talk about is the Gabriel handball and Raya, whatever.
I didn't see it until you guys started talking about it. I didn't see it.
I didn't see it too, frankly. I didn't see it. It was until it was Rio Ferdinand and the super sports guys that they were talking about it and they brought it up. I was like, what's going on here? So I watch a lot of Arsenal. You do, and we've seen this happen several times. Gabriel will take the goal kick and give the ball to Raya, right? Because this might sound ridiculous, but I think Arsenal actually, or Arteta believes Raya is a better passer of the ball, long passer of the ball than Gabriel or Saliba.
It's not wrong.
So instead of you putting the goal kick, give it to the keeper, let him walk the ball out, then he can. So my interpretation of what happened was Raya was giving the ball to Gabriel to initiate the goal kick. Not that Raya took the goal kick himself.
Yeah.
That is my interpretation of what happened. Technically, that could have been a penalty. I'm not saying it's not a penalty. Don't get me wrong. Technically, it could have been a penalty. But the ref, we didn't hear from the ref. It was Tuchel that said the ref told them XYZ. I know Tuchel. I've heard a lot from him. If he greets you good morning, go outside and check whether it's morning.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
He's a liar.
That's the kind of person he is. Yeah. So I don't know whether that's what the ref told him, that it was a kid's mistake. But if that indeed was what the ref told him, that ref is stupid. Because that excuse is not tenable. It's not a kid's mistake, right? The only way the ref could have given a penalty in that case is if it was at a disadvantage. Let's say when Raya gave the ball to Gabriel, Kane or somebody was pressing on Gabriel, and Gabriel now held the ball and said, "No, I've not started the game." Then I can get that, right? And there's an 18th rule in refereeing. They call it 18th rule, which is ref with common sense. You have to refer the game. You have to referee the game with common sense. Yes, it's true. It's just like, you remember the incidents when Michael Oliver gave Martinelli a yellow card, right?
Yeah.
For two
yellow
incidents.
Cards. Two yellow cards in 11 seconds.
2 yellow cards in 11 seconds, right? Technically, there was nothing wrong with that. But from a common sense standpoint, it's wrong.
It doesn't happen. without
it doesn't
like
happen.
major, I'm pulling my hair out, I'm punching somebody, I'm cussing the referee's mama, you know, you have to do something egregious, you know.
Absolutely. Now, for Tuchel to come out and now make it seem as if, oh, we were robbed, we were this, I'm like, dude, calm down. This is not as deep as the ref's interpretation, in my opinion, would have been, no, Raya gave the ball to Gabriel to initiate the goal kick. Simple. If they had asked me as a ref, that's what I would have said.
Bruh,
not, oh, it's kid's mistake, it's XYZ. I just thought that was very, 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 very silly of the ref and even the Tuchel himself.
Yeah, this is one of the reasons I'm so confident about Arsenal. I think the last time I felt this way, if I'm being honest, was before Nigeria's first game at USA 94. It sounds crazy, right? That I'm going all the way back there. Because you and I and everyone else knew the quality in that team, but the world did not, right? Because our players didn't play at the top clubs in Italy, right? You know, Okocha, I think at the time was in Turkey. It wasn't even at PSG, I don't think, right?
It was in Turkey.
I think it was in Turkey.
No, as at that time,
yeah,
it was in Turkey.
It was in Turkey, and then after that, it went to Bolton, right?
Yeah.
Then it went to Bolton.
Yeah.
So he had already done PSG, I think, or whatever. It doesn't matter. Yakini, Olympiacos, they were not playing. We didn't have anyone playing at a top club, right? Olise had not gotten to Juventus yet. You know, it was still in Belgium. Belgium has never been a major player, in anything.
Yeah.
Right? Belgium was important to us Africans, right? In terms of getting our people.
Yeah.
But Belgium has never been feared as anything. Belgium is Belgium is lower than the Netherlands, the Eredivisie in ball. So your majority of your players playing in Belgium doesn't tell the world anything, but we knew what these guys could do. That quiet confidence, what you just described to me, the coach saying all these crazy things, juxtaposed to what the opposing coach, Arteta, did, is why I'm confident. The guy is not bothered. It's like, I'm good. He's not bothered. So we'll see.
He didn't even say anything about any penalty, any referee. He didn't say anything.
They know they messed up, but they know it could have been worse. So it was like the entire season last year in 90 minutes. It could have, everything could have blown up, but they rescued it. They came back, they scored a great goal. And it's almost like, Bayern, you messed up. You should have had us when you
should have exactly.
Exactly. So we'll see.
Exactly.
So you can come back and play this after we lose 5-1 at the Allianz. I just don't think it's gonna happen.
Anyway, so let's quickly go through the Europa League.
Okay.
Leverkusen beat West Ham. It was 2-0, but it could have been more.
Yeah.
That was so one-sided. Leverkusen,
I think
although
the shots were like 30-something to 0 or 1 at one point.
It was ridiculous, right? And I thought West Ham actually, they could have done better in that game. I think Moyes just thought, oh, let me pack the bus, get a result, and when we get to West Ham, we'll see what will happen. You can't have a Paqueta in your team. You can't have a Bowen in your team, and you're packing the bus. Come on, what are you doing?
But bruh, when you have a Fabianski, that's what happens. Let's move on.
But Fabianski saved them. It could have been worse. See that 30-something shots you're talking about? Probably half of that was saves from Fabianski. So, yeah. Anyway, Roma beat Milan at home 1-0. Yeah. Then Benfica beat Marseille 2-0. Then Atlanta went to
Anfield.
Liverpool went to the Merseyside, went to Anfield, and they beat Liverpool 3-0.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, a lot of people did not expect this, but you and I kind of said, don't disrespect Atlanta.
Yeah, we said it. We said it last week.
We said it last week.
Yeah.
Don't disrespect Atlanta. They might not have a star player or anything, but they are good at what they do.
Yeah. Very experienced coach.
And absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Liverpool messed around and they found out. So we talked about Tuchel last week, sending the wrong message to his team. I think, what's his name? Klopp also kind of did the same this week. The starting lineup sent a message that it's either I don't fancy Atlanta or I don't fancy the Europa League. One of the two. I don't know what it is. You can decide. But that's what it felt like.
So for me, I feel like he decided that they could win the league, and he decided to prioritize the league. That's what, I know a lot of people are like crying over this. I'm like, to him, it's not a big deal. It doesn't, he would love to win all the trophies. If he had to choose one, he would choose the league. Because for all his
So you don't think?
Go on.
You don't think you underestimated Atlanta?
I don't think he went there trying to lose by 3 goals. I think he thought, let me eat my cake and have it a little bit. And then Atalanta was like, hold our beers. You know what I mean? So I think that's what happened.
Let's show you.
So they ran into a buzzsaw. That's what happened.
See, what my point is, did he have to? So your 2 games back to back is home to Atlanta, home to Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
Which one is the tougher game to you?
Atalanta.
Isn't it? It's home to Atlanta.
Yeah.
You could have played your A team here, and if you wrapped it up early, you can actually sit them.
Yeah.
Right? And you can play a weakened team against Atlanta.
Against
Crystal Palace. And bring in. Well, you don't start a game. You bench Salah. You bench Diaz. You're already saying, nah, maybe we can. That's what it felt like to me. Yeah.
But
and mind you, Atlanta might not be aesthetically pleasing, but they do the little things very well.
They do.
And boy, did they come on. They did it superbly on Thursday. Yeah. It could have been worse. Yeah, Salah scored an offside goal, but Atlanta had more chances. They could have scored 5 or 6.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Tie over or not?
Not over, because it's Liverpool.
Okay.
I come here every week. I rave about Liverpool. I rave about Klopp. That team is crazy. I think if it was City, the tie will be over. I don't think City can go to Italy and produce 4 goals. I think Liverpool can go to Italy and produce 4 goals. The only mitigation is
4 goals without conceding.
That's what I was gonna say. The only mitigation is I don't trust their defense. I do not trust the Liverpool defense. So I think the tie is realistically over, but there will be fireworks. I think there will be fireworks. Yeah.
Same here.
Yeah.
I can never write over Liverpool.
Yeah.
I can never. Those guys, nah.
Yeah.
So tie is not over, but I think Klopp just got himself into a pickle here.
Yeah.
He could have avoided this. He could have.
Yeah.
So that's our quick summary for the UEFA League and Europa League rather, and the Champions League. Next week is going to be fun. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We'll come back and we'll discuss what happened eventually.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed on Arsenal beating Bayern.
It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. Okay.
It's gonna happen. Okay.
So when we started off the show, Aki mentioned that I have an unpopular opinion. So I'm just gonna go straight into it.
Okay.
I think you can take the backseat on this one. And you can jump in.
This is all Yinka. I have nothing to do with this. So
yeah. So if you guys want to crucify me, y'all can have at it. It's fine. So when we typically have this discussion around who's the greatest player of all time, the GOAT debate on our group back in. And some of our friends will say, oh, Mr. A won Ballon d'Or 10 times. Oh, Mr. B won Ballon d'Or 7 times. And I'm like, y'all just shut up. Ballon d'Or is the worst criteria or the worst benchmark you can use to determine the greatness of someone. Yeah? And they're like, no, what do you mean? He's the greatest. I said, come on, guys. If you know the history of Ballon d'Or, you won't be saying what you're saying. Right? So I'll start off.
Okay.
So what's the intention? What's the idea for Ballon d'Or? It's meant to be an award for the best player in a calendar year for club and country. Okay? That's it. Mind you, I said calendar year. That's part of the problem, but I'll get to the problem later on.
Okay.
that calendar year bit, but I'll get to it. So before, I think it started in 1956 or thereabout. And then it was the France football kind of
magazine.
competition.
Yeah.
Magazine that determines, they just come around and they say this is the greatest footballer in the world.
Well,
but mind
in
you,
Europe,
between
19... Europe, it was only, and you had to be European.
It started off as Europe, then it went to the world.
And you had to be European.
No. It started off as Europe.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You had to be
It
European.
started off as European, but they call it world.
Yeah, of course.
Just like the way your NBA guys will say world champions.
Yeah.
Whereas you're playing yourself in. Exactly. So that was how it started. And it was only the French journalists that were voting there.
Yeah.
The first non-European to win it was George Weah. Before then, it didn't matter what you were doing anywhere else in the world, right? And the only reason George Weah even was able to win it is because they extended it to, as long as you are active in the European leagues, and even if you're not European, you'll be considered.
That was the first time.
It was purely, that was the first time. Before then, it was purely European. If you're not European, you're not even considered. Yeah? You're not considered at all. Then more recently, they expanded the voting team to club captains and club coaches. Yeah? Now, so you asked me, so what was the issue, or what are the issues that you have with Ballon d'Or? And the first thing I'll say is that calendar year that I talked about.
Okay.
Right? So it takes calendar year from January to December. Which football season happens between January and December? Or do you understand?
Yeah.
The football season is always summer to summer.
Yeah.
It's summer to summer. So you are at December trying to determine who the best player of the year is. You're taking two bodies of work. You're looking at the half season from the previous season and the half season that you're in currently, which is confusing. It is very, very confusing, and it brings a lot of subjectivity into it. So you might have somebody right now that is on fire, but at the end of last season, he probably did nothing. But because, it's in the heat of the moment, this is when we are voting, people tend to look at who is doing stuff right now and completely ignore what happened last season. So first problem with that calendar year needs to be rectified.
Okay.
Number one. Number two, it is highly subjective. What is the criteria? What is the yardstick for voting? So as it stands, there's no short list per se. So you just start off by saying, okay, you vote. So I can wake up, if I have a vote, I can wake up and say Rashid Yekini is my vote.
Yeah,
you
wasted your vote.
Rashid Yekini might have done.
Yeah.
Exactly, he might have not done anything during the year. Okay? So now it just leaves room for high level of subjectivity and a high level of, people saying, I'll vote along the lines of my nation, I'll vote along the lines of the club I support, I'll vote along the lines of who I believe is the greatest player of all time. So even if Messi was on crutches, right? Or Messi didn't do anything, some people will still vote Messi because they believe they are asking me who is the best footballer, not asking me who is the most valuable player or the best footballer within a particular period. Subjectivity, number two.
Okay.
Number three, which is similar to number two, the unclear selection criteria. If you had shortened the list to say, this year, a group of people have said these top 10 players are the people we're considering because of XYZ, then you then vote for people within that 1 to 10. That would make more sense than you saying, you know what, just sending your votes, whoever you think is done well. Yeah? So I don't think the selection criteria is clear. And when you leave it open like that, it just breeds, it gives opportunity for people to do whatever they feel like. Number 4, over the years, and I'm sure this will not come surprisingly to you, over the years, attackers have won the Ballon d'Or 59 times. Midfielders, 3 times. Defenders, 4 times. Goalkeeper, once. So there is this tendency that even if a defender has been superb, the attackers must have played rubbish. And by mean rubbish, get what I mean? They must have undelivered significantly for them not to be considered, or for a defender to be considered ahead of them. or for any other person who is not an attacker to be considered ahead of them. And I'll give you examples. So, I know I've said this before, the George Weah incident, the George Weah Footballer of the Year. And it was in 1995, they were not considering anybody outside of Europe.
Yeah.
But in 1995, there was somebody that was more deserved. I've said this before, so I'll repeat it again. Copa America Player of the Tournament. He captained Uruguay to the Copa win that year. That is Enzo Franciscoli. Was South American Player of the Year. Was the Argentine Player of the Year because he played for River Plate. River Plate won their version of the Champions League. So this guy captained Uruguay to a Copa win. He captained River Plate to a Libertadores win. Right? He wasn't even on the voting.
No, because it wasn't allowed to be.
Weah.
Because they had just opened it in 95. So that was the first time they opened it to people who were non-Europeans playing in Europe. You had to be playing in Europe.
Absolutely. Yeah. You had to be playing in Europe. I'm just giving you an example of somebody that has a better resume in that calendar year than a George Weah who really didn't win anything with either PSG, Milan, or Liberia.
Oh, the disrespect again. But go on.
No. But that is the fact. It's put it side by side, right? So we'll fast forward to 2003.
Okay.
Right? Thierry Henry. Thierry Henry scored 24 goals and he had 20 assists in the EPL.
Yeah.
First time ever
in the league
for anybody to have.
That's in the league.
Yeah. To have 20 goals and assists, right? It was Arsenal's best player in the invincible run. But guess who won it?
Pavel Nedved. Yeah, I think he had like 14 goals and I don't know how many assists that year.
Although Juventus won Serie A, which Arsenal too won the league that year, they lost in the UCL final to Milan.
Yeah.
Nedved didn't play because I think he had a sending of a yellow card in the
it was
semi-final.
An accumulation of yellow cards, I think. Yeah.
And they said, it was because he wasn't there. And they used that as an excuse for him to say if he was there, Juve would have won.
Yeah.
On that same Juve team, Nedved wasn't even the best player. You had a Buffon and Del Piero that were doing more than Nedved.
Yeah.
So how was it given to Nedved? Till today, I don't know.
That's the worst one, in my opinion. Yeah, but go on.
Just hold on that. It might not be the worst. You might hear some other ones that will really get you angry. Fast forward to 2010.
Okay.
Wesley Sneijder. Inter Milan won the treble. Let me build this case for you.
I know.
Inter Milan won the treble. 24 goals and at least contribution. World Cup, that same period, this guy scored 5 goals for Holland. He was man of the match in 4 games in South Africa.
Yeah.
They lost the final to Spain. Inter won treble that included the Champions League, mind you.
I know.
Guess who won it?
Messi.
Mr. Messi.
Yeah.
What did Messi do that year?
He scored 44 goals or something like that.
Scored 44 goals. But he didn't win anything. He didn't win the treble. Barca didn't even win the league that year. So he's now start asking, so exactly what are we rewarding here? Are we just asking? Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Sneijder is a better player than Messi.
I know.
No, that's not what I'm saying. But if you look at resume and how important that player was to the success of both club and country. Remember when I started off, I said the objective was to reward the best player or whatever for club and country. In that year, it was obvious. It was supposed to be Wesley Sneijder, right? But the Inter hate that year was right because of Mourinho and because of the way they played. Yeah, it was given to Messi.
I disagree. Are you done, or are you still going?
Problem.
Are you done?
No.
Okay.
Let me move on. So, when I'm done, you can come back and talk about.
Go on.
Can talk about the ones that you disagree with.
All of them? Okay, go on.
So that's the third snub. No, it can't be all of them now. 2013, Mr. Frank Ribery. Similar to Wesley Sneijder.
That was a joke, but go on.
Similar to Wesley Sneijder. Hold on. Bayern won the treble. Ribery was clearly their best player. 34 goals contribution. Guess who they gave it to?
Messi.
No, Ronaldo won it that year.
Oh, did they win in 2013? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Was that the year he scored 60-something goals, though? He scored like...
The year that he scored, exactly. He scored 55 goals. Okay. Exactly. Messi was number 2. Ronaldo was Ribery was number 3.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that Barca lost 7-0 on aggregate to Bayern in the Champions League that year. Still, Ribery came third behind Messi and Ronaldo. So you ask yourself again, okay, Ronaldo scored 55 goals.
Yeah.
Where did where did it get to? Madrid didn't win anything. Where did it take you to? Madrid didn't win anything. That year I thought it should have been Ribery. That might not be as egregious as some other ones that I've mentioned before, but you get what I'm trying to say.
I do.
You can argue that year it shouldn't have been Ronaldo. 2019. This one you might argue with. Virgil van Dijk. This is where I say, when you're talking about defenders, right? You see, I can see you're smirking already. Hear me out. Liverpool won the double. They won the league and they won the Champions League. Now, this is where the argument comes in. I've said it 1,000,001 times that for me, Van Dijk is the most important player to Liverpool, not Salah, not Mane. I've told you this 1,000,001 times. In my opinion, he was their best player. If he wasn't there, they wouldn't have won. But that year,
listening.
Yes, Messi won the La Liga. Messi won La Liga. He was the highest goal scorer. And I agree, this might not be, once again, as egregious as some of the ones I've mentioned before, right? But this buttresses my point towards the favoritism towards attackers, right? It was given to Messi. Now, I get this, but I'm just trying to let you know, VVD probably had, you won the double. What else do you want? But a lot of people will say Salah was more deserving even than VVD. But VVD was on the ballot. I think he came third that year also.
It might have been second, to be honest. I'm not sure. It might have been second that year.
Yeah. So then the last one for me will be the 2020-2021, the COVID nonsense.
They should have awarded it. They should have awarded it.
The Lewandowski one. Come on, man. Do I need to go through that? Bayern won the league, they won the Champions League, they won the treble in 2020. Then COVID happened, and Lewandowski scored almost 60 goals.
Yeah,
I think it was 50 something.
It broke Gerd Muller's record in Germany. Yeah,
in Germany.
Yeah.
Then COVID happened, and they said they cancelled it for the year.
It's crazy.
Then they now move fast forward to 2021, right?
And gave it to Messi.
And Lewandowski was also, he was doing well in Bayern. And they gave it to Messi. To tell you how bad it was, in his acceptance speech, Messi actually considered that, maybe this one should have been given to me. Something along those lines. He still came second behind Messi. So you see the lack of objectivity. Yeah? So in general, my point is that award is not what people think it is. Yeah, it became a battle between Ronaldo and Messi. They were, for example, this 2021. I think it was just the Messi fans, and I love Messi. I'm a Messi fan also, but I think it was just Messi fans trying to say we need to one up on Ronaldo, right? And everybody voted for him. And Lewandowski was by far, it wasn't even close, was by far the best player in 2020 in the world, and he still lost by 33 votes to Messi. 33. So please, when next anybody brings up, Messi, Ronaldo won this, Messi won that, and you want to use that as a good argument, just shut it. Ballon d'Or is complete scam. I rest my case.
All right. Yeah, you have some water there to hydrate a little bit. Take a deep breath.
Yeah.
You are hyper.
I get angry when I talk about this.
Yeah,
stuff.
you are hyperventilating a little bit there. So I just want to make sure you're okay. You're okay? You gonna make it? Okay. All right.
Woosah.
Okay. You should woosah a little bit. All right. So a couple things, right? I'm not gonna say I completely disagree with. I disagree with some things. So let me just get into it. So one, again, the Ballon d'Or. I blame FIFA for a lot of it. Right? Because you allowed you didn't step up with your own awards until very, very late. And then there was a time they were co-branding with the Ballon d'Or. That lasted for about 6 years, I think. I don't have it in front of me, where it was the FIFA Ballon d'Or for like 4 to 6 awards, right? And then they split up again.
Yeah.
So you talked about 95. 95 was the first time non-Europeans playing in Europe were allowed to be considered, and George Weah won, which is why I don't understand the disrespect. George Weah opened a lot of doors. So we're not arguing, you leave that man alone.
This is not about George Weah. This is about Ballon d'Or. So don't make it about George Weah.
I know. I'm just saying.
So don't make it about George Weah, a specific player.
The very first time.
If the Ballon d'Or is supposed to recognize right? The greatest player in world football.
No, it wasn't.
Right?
That's my point.
In a calendar
It was
year.
not. In 1995, it was to recognize the greater. It was European Footballer of the Year. They just expanded the definition of European.
So who was the World Footballer of the Year in 1995?
That's my point. FIFA did not promote their own World Footballer of the Year awards.
I'm asking. We're saying the same thing.
Yeah, in 95, I don't know who he was because they didn't promote it.
We're saying the same thing. So why call it World Footballer of the Year?
But it's not.
Right? And people give. It's not.
Okay.
It's not. We're saying the same thing.
All right, but hold on. So, remember, this is France magazine, France Football magazine, right? This is a magazine. Yeah. Why are we giving it? Because the ball is gold. Why are we giving it outsized importance, right? So, but anyway, so the first time they opened it for non-Europeans playing in Europe, active in Europe, as they said, a Liberian won it. I will forever be proud of that.
Yes.
Okay, 1995.
Yeah, that's fine.
It would not be until 12 years later, 2007, that they opened it to the rest of the world.
2007, yes.
That they opened it to the rest of the world. So from 1956 to 1995, it was Europeans playing in Europe only. It was literally called European Footballer of the Year. And then
1995, yes.
95 to 2007.
95 to 2007.
Yes. You have to be playing in Europe. And then from 2007, it's anybody playing anywhere, right? Okay, so let's get that straight. So I blame FIFA because what FIFA should have done, I'll give you an example. There are some World Cup years where the winner of the Ballon d'Or was different from the winner of the FIFA World Player of the Year. 2006, for example, everyone would say, if you poll people, they'll probably think Cannavaro won Ballon d'Or. He did not. He won the FIFA World Player of the Year. 90. When did Brazil win the World Cup? 2002. Ronaldo did not win. I think Oliver Kahn was World Player of the Year by FIFA, which is crazy to me. It wasn't Ronaldo in 2002. So, okay. So let's leave that aside, right? So I think I think the criteria is another problem. You mentioned most valuable player. In American sports, there's always a problem. What does valuable mean? Because for me, it should not eliminate bad teams, players on bad teams. If you're doing everything within your power and you're playing at a really, really, really high level, and objectively, you're the best player that season, but you don't have the team success to go with it, depending on the sport. There's some sports where if you're the best player, your team should do well. Basketball, I'm not going to say it's easy, but it's easier to translate, greatness to the team context than, other sports. Go on.
Can I quickly jump in?
Yeah, go on.
So, see, if you want to make it that or make it the other one, just be clear. Because going back to the same point in basketball, this was the same reason why they gave Steve Nash some awards ahead of Shaq. One, this is the same reason why Kobe did not win as many MVPs that he should have.
Shaq won one.
But
it's crazy.
But now they are now using this same rationale to give Joker his third MVP. And I'm like, but you told us 3 years ago or whenever or multiple years ago why you didn't give Shaq and Kobe.
Yeah.
But now you're using the same because Denver, the first time Joker won it, Denver didn't have the best record.
No,
did they?
They shouldn't have won that year.
They did not.
Now is the best player in the league.
So you see my point. Yeah. Exactly.
But now is the best
So you see
player.
my point. I don't even need you to tell me, that this is the better criteria or this is no. Just pick something. Let's be consistent about it. My understanding is you're the most, how do I put this? Your team performed very well and you are the driver. That's it.
So for me,
that's the way I see it. That's what I think it should be.
That more often than not will not be good enough. And so let me give you a good example. A good example is 2010 World Cup where Spain wins, right?
Yeah.
That Spanish team was an ensemble, right? They didn't have one star. They had, I'm not going to say 11 stars. They had 8 stars at least. You know what I mean? And not all of them were starters, right? So, when you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have a quarterback. Yeah, I'm sure you've heard that said before. So when you have two quarterbacks, you don't have a quarterback, right? So, and then what happens? Messi swoops in, and, there's no one else on Argentina. When he's on Barcelona, he's head and shoulders above everybody. So he wins. That's what happens. And hold on, Yinka, that 2010, Schneider did not play ball after the World Cup. He got fat, and we never heard from him again. And remember, it wasn't until recently that they changed the calendar year. I think 2022 was when they changed the calendar year thing, where, okay, now it's no longer calendar year, it's the football year. But as of 2010, it was still the calendar year.
But that's part of the problem.
Oh, I know.
That is part of the problem, right? So you mentioned the Messi situation.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying your team should win, right? But your team should at least go far. So, for example, now, let's look at there's no perfect example in the EPL. So let's look at a Nottingham Forest, for example. Let's say there's one player that is balling significantly on Nottingham Forest. But see where Nottingham Forest is.
I know.
Right? But if you now have somebody that plays for either Liverpool, Man City, or Arsenal, even if you don't win it eventually, right? I believe that is where, your best player or whatever winner should be coming from.
Who's your player of the season in the EPL this year?
No, that's a tough question. I can't answer off the top of my head. I'll need to think about it.
It's Phil Foden for me. For me, it's Phil Foden. I don't care who wins. So it will be Phil Foden number 1, Declan Rice number 2. And I think number 3 will be a very distant number 3. Now, if you want to flip it and say Rice 1, Foden 2, I'm okay with it. If I'm voting Foden 1, Rice 2. Because in a year where Haaland missed games, where KDB missed games, the best player, in my opinion, you can say Rodri is their most important player. You can even say Rodri is their best, but doesn't score goals. And you don't win anything without goals, right? This guy stepped up.
That's another thing that I don't agree with. Right?
Do you win without goals?
You don't win anything. You're ignoring the process that leads to the goal, and you're just rewarding the person that is.
No,
it's like you're rewarding the person that is packaging the product.
Okay,
if you get what I mean, and you're disregarding every other person that has significantly affected the process in itself.
Okay, what's the hardest thing to do in football? What's the hardest thing to do?
Probably play central defensive midfield.
Is it?
Probably play central defensive midfield.
So if you're not,
it's probably the hardest thing in
football. If you're not blessed with a great central defensive midfield, you can play 3 at the back, right? You can move to a Pirlo. You can move to a Pirlo system where you're playing a ball playing guy in a most defensive.
You can sidestep it. That doesn't mean it's still not the most important thing.
Yeah, but
you have a team like Arsenal that doesn't have one person that scores their goals. Goals are spread around. So why didn't you say in Arsenal, how many goals that Declan Rice scored? Why did you pick Declan Rice?
Because it changed the team.
You see what I'm saying?
No, I know, but because it changed, he was the best player because he changed the team. It wasn't just scoring; it was excellent in what he did. Foden was excellent because what they needed, he gave it to them. But you could replace Foden with Rodri.
I'm just responding.
No, I know.
I'm just responding to the fact that you talked about goals only.
Okay.
And I'm like, it's a factor, but it should not be the prime factor, if you get what I mean.
But Yinka, every time I bring up,
and I'm not shitting on. Yeah, go ahead.
Every time I bring up Rodri, you tell me, you guys overrate this guy. I'm the one who is always bigging up Rodri.
No. I'm not.
Okay, go on.
Rodri to me is the best player. It's KDB, but this season the best player on Man City's team is Rodri.
And
so when you mentioned Foden, hold on. When you mentioned Foden, I was like, so if you give me a short list and you have Foden on it, I won't frown at it.
Okay.
Right? Do you get my point? It's difficult to say who isn't right now. But if you give me a short list, right, Foden will be there. Yeah. Rodri will be there. Rice will be there. Odegaard will be there. And surprisingly, Saka will not be there.
No, Saka will not be there this year. And so here's the thing. And this goes back to one of my points. Sometimes we measure greatness against your past greatness, right? So Rodri would be on my top 5. It may even be my top 3. But Rodri is not as good this year as it was last year.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but Rodri is.
But
Rodri
it will still be
Rodri
top
is
5
different gravy.
And maybe top
different
3.
Gravy.
And then remember they have that, is it 60 games or whatever that he hasn't lost when he's played or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, once he plays, they don't lose. Yeah.
They don't lose, period.
They don't lose.
Right? But anyway.
Yeah.
We should wrap up your unpopular opinion. I think in general, the last thing I'm going to say on your unpopular opinion is this is an unprecedented time where we have Ronaldo, an all-time great, and Messi, an all-time great, who both score goals in ways we've never seen before. And they're not specialist strikers. And they were playing at the same time for massive clubs who want plenty of things. Right? That I don't think that will happen again. I think we're going to go back to, what used to happen before where there's no clear best player in the world. I mean, there was a year, Yinka, that Messi scored 91 goals for club and country in a calendar year? Like, come on, man.
Yeah. But he didn't do the same thing last year. But still is your current Ballon d'Or winner. Yes or no?
I know, because he won the World Cup. You know that. That's why they do that. Because he won the World Cup.
But they gave him last year because of the World Cup.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So why did you give him this year?
Yeah.
No, he's won it twice in a row.
No. You're mixing it up. The last year that you're talking about, they haven't awarded. You're talking of 23. He won the World Cup in December of 22, and they gave him in 23. Right. So for that, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's why he won it the last time it was awarded in 23.
Also, you're saying because of the change that they had to the calendar now. So
yeah, it's for the football year. He won it. It wasn't a calendar year.
It's for the football year.
It was for the football. They changed it in 22.
But the World Cup was in December, wasn't it?
Of 22. Yeah. So it was for the football year of July, August to August or whatever, or June or whatever you want to call it. So the World Cup was dab in the middle of it. And that's the thing, right? That's what a lot of people have a problem with the Schneider thing. But Schneider stopped playing ball.
Yeah.
Schneider got fat and stopped playing ball, and we never heard from him again. And and it was calendar year at the time.
He still played. He played for Inter that year. He didn't just resign from Inter after he won the treble.
It was terrible. You don't remember this? The new season. I remember this was calendar year. He just got fat and it was terrible.
Okay, I'll give that to you.
And they didn't win They didn't win. Why not Xavi? Xavi won the World Cup. But the problem is,
Inter won the treble.
But they didn't win the World Cup.
Inter won the treble.
They didn't win the World Cup.
So who won it that year? Messi.
Of course it was Messi.
Win the World Cup?
Because they all knocked themselves out. They knocked each other and themselves out.
So if I'm going by your point, it should be the World Cup. It should be somebody on the Spanish team that should. But
it can't be somebody if there's no clear. This guy was the reason we won. You thought it was,
but then you went outside of that and you picked somebody that you just. And mind you, Messi was the best player. Don't get me wrong, though. Right? That year, we all get it. I get that point, but that is not what you're rewarding.
So,
do you understand? That is not what you're rewarding. You started off by saying, I'm looking at the best player in the calendar year for club and country. Yeah? You can't do that, man. You can't just say, okay, Messi is the best. I mean, over the past 5 years, it's been Messi, so we always give it to Messi.
No.
That's what happened between Ronaldo and Messi. They were just yo-yoing between the two of them. This year, Ronaldo. Next year, Messi. This year. And I'm like, think of other people now. Guy, what's going on?
Okay.
What's going on?
I hear what you're saying, right? But again, when you have an ensemble, like the Leicester year is a good example, right? I know some of their players went on and became real stars. Like, Kante was a real star, Mahrez was a real star. But that wasn't a star-driven team necessarily. That was a team-driven team, right? And for me, that was Spain in 2010. Right? The reason you're saying Schneider and not Xavi is because, that wasn't a great Netherlands team. That was a great Spanish team, right? So I would argue if Schneider had just a regular August to December, it would have come at least second.
He would have won.
It didn't even come second because it fell off completely, right? And the reason Xavi and Iniesta couldn't win, one, Iniesta was injured until like April. He had a great World Cup. You know what I mean? So he didn't have the body of work. And then with Xavi, it's like they take votes from each other. You know, so they came second and third, Xavi and Iniesta, but they take votes from each other. And then their club team, Messi was better than them. You know what I mean?
So does that then excuse how even Xavi and Iniesta was ahead of Schneider in that particular
because
year?
Schneider.
Moratti actually came out.
Okay.
Hold on now. Moratti came out. And he was very, very angry. I want to look for the quotes. That's what I'm trying to check. Okay. Let me find it. I know we should wrap up, but last word on this. Moratti said, I find it very unfair. Schneider had a phenomenal year, won everything he could have won. It seems unfair the award is given to someone who, although a great player, didn't even have the same level of performance throughout the year.
This is Moratti. I think Barcelona won the league, by the way, that year, 2010. They did win the league. I think they may have even won another trophy. I don't remember. But of course, they lost in the semifinal of the Champions League, obviously. And Messi didn't win the World Cup, obviously.
I don't think Messi won the league that year.
Almost
but
certain
we can check.
that he did.
Okay, they won. Yeah. Barca won La Liga that year.
I'm pretty sure they did.
Barca won La Liga that year.
You know, people always, whenever 2008 comes up, they're like, oh, you shouldn't have won. It was too young. When 2010 comes up, they didn't win anything. Not true. They actually won the league. I think Messi and Ronaldo are just so much better as footballers. They don't have peers. They are each other's peer. That's it.
But that is not what we're asking.
But then they show up, Yinka. That's not it. They play 65 games.
That's not the question.
They play 65 games every year and play at a high level. That's the problem you're having right now.
So out of all the snubs that I mentioned, so I told you some are not as. So I can put the Schneider one on that. Mm-hmm. Although I feel it should have been given to Schneider.
Okay, I wouldn't have had a problem with it. If they had given him, I would not have had a problem with it.
Exactly. Yeah. The Francescoli one, I was just being. I get it. He wasn't
qualified.
He wasn't qualified. Yeah. But the Nedved one.
Nah.
The Lewandowski one.
Nah. The Nedved should have been Henry. Henry has never been higher than second. I mean, what's his name? The Liverpool striker from way back won one over Henry. What's his name?
You mean Aaron?
No. The younger one. Henry's contemporary. Oh God.
Oh, Michael Owen.
Michael Owen won one because they had the fake treble. You know,
the fake treble with the Cup Winners' Cup.
Cup Winners' Cup.
Exactly.
Didn't win the league. 3 cups. They won 3 cups. They didn't win the league. You know.
So let's just see how it goes. So the fact the Ellen Haaland came second in 2023, right? So earlier on I got it mixed up. It was the year Messi's first year in PSG was where they gave it to him. Lewandowski was second. That was the 2021 one. Then Karim Benzema was the.
Oh yeah,
I thought it was back to back.
Benzema won, right?
Benzema was in between.
He won. Yeah.
Benzema won.
And then Haaland didn't go to the World Cup. That didn't help. And then Messi won the World Cup, and it was the reason they won the World Cup. You know. But anyway, okay.
Anyway,
Yinka.
Anyway,
I know you feel you're fired
guys. No. I'm a lot calmer.
Okay,
that's good. The person that this unpopular opinion is directed to, they know themselves. They can catch themselves.
I know the person too.
They know themselves. You know the person I'm talking about. Person. Any small thing, Ballon d'Or. Any small thing, I'm like, dude.
Oh, this person will stop being your friend eventually. It's just a matter of time.
Nah, he's my good friend. Don't worry. He's my good friend. We are friends for life. Friends for ye.
Oh gosh.
Anyway,
all right,
guys. That's our podcast for the week. We'll see you guys next week. But as usual, please, across all our social media platforms, please do the needful. Subscribe. Smash the notification bell so you can get the content whenever we release them. And more importantly, I think subscribe. We need to build up our subscription base. You never know, we might be doing some giveaway very soon. So you will want to be part of that. Okay, last words.
All right. Thank you, Yinka. Thank you, everyone. This was fun, and we will see you next week. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching our video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click on the notifications button so you don't miss any of our content.
And please don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms.